Here at Epipheo, we tend to create a lot of character-driven animation. There's just something about characters that makes videos more appealing and more effective in communicating a message. So if you're a designer or an animator who would like to improve on this skill, you've come to the right place. You're about to sit in on a presentation from our senior art director, Bitsy Vos, on this very topic. So sit back and enjoy.
Character is like, it's like its own world. Think of this presentation as like perhaps a couple steps in the gigantic staircase of character designing. What is character design, you may ask? Character design is a study of a character and visually designing it in the most appealing way for the target audience. I see good character design as the perfect balance of a concept that is well suited for its story and beautiful visual design. So you may ask, what does that mean, concept that is well suited for a story? This is not a well suited concept. This character design is terrible. It's almost there. You've got all this beautiful design and we don't believe it. Why? Because it's Matt Damon. People pick, I know this is not an animated example, but it is one of my favorite examples because everything's beautiful, but it's bad. No one believes it. That would be better. That is a good character design. It fits, it's believable, it's likable. All right, here's another really great example. We've got two outfit designers, this guy and this woman. Lindy did an incredible job designing Amazons. They look like warriors, you believe them. They've got plates, they've got armor. Michael Wilkinson failed so hard because now you've got Halloween Town sexy costumes. Like, you're not fighting in those. It's awful. You failed. Shame on Michael Wilkinson and Jack Schneider. The object of this is the fact that it's the target audience. Like, you just see it and you know it's bad. It doesn't feel good. You don't want to watch it anymore. I'm sure you still watched it because it's an action movie, but even in the animated videos, like, people pick up on it. I'll use Luke as an example. Once, a long time ago, we were doing characters and Luke was saying, like, I'm so sick of the clients asking for these like really skinny moms. Like, they have to be skinny, their waists have to be skinny, blah, 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 blah. They're moms. And he's totally right. Like, a good mom, not to say there aren't good moms, you know what I'm trying to say, but like target audience and representation, you got to think of what the moms want to see. Put that X back up there. Shame on you. Okay, so beautiful character design has so many subcategories. I'm just going to tackle two today. So shape theory, which is my personal favorite. It's how I see the world and how I see people is just out of shapes. So quite simply, most objects will break down into one or more familiar shapes. It's kind of psychology, like your brain just wants to break things down into the simplest shape possible. It kind of just helps us learn. So I do believe there's definitely in the shape theory, it's kind of like color theory where you're like, red means anger, but that's not always the formula. But in general, Circles, friendly, harmless, fun. I mean, if you know Kirby, you know he's not harmless. But the character design, he's adorable. Squares and rectangles are reliable, rigid, and sturdy. I used him as an example because he's also got a lot of circles. So we've combined him into kind of this friendly, fun, reliable, rigid character. And then triangles. They're dynamic. They represent both balance and energy. So one of my favorite examples is Barry Reynolds. He's like Secret of Kells, if you've ever seen it, or Song of the Sea. Beautiful films. He's like super geometric in his character design. As you can see, like, I mean, smooth lines, circles. Here's another character. You've kind of got these like mournful shapes, but they're always kind of connected. They've always follow each other. And then here's just a beautiful hand reference sheet. Going back into consistency of good character is you really want to carry the shapes through your character, like throughout the whole video, to kind of maintain this nice, meaningful shape. Applies to background too. This is also from his movies. These are beautiful. These start to get into composition design, which is its own world. But you can take any really, really nice scene and you can really just break it down into shapes. I mean, this one, you've got circles, you've got triangles, you've got squares, all while kind of having like the nice random assortment of shapes that connotate nature. Beautiful. Love this movie. Gotta watch it. Okay, and then the second area of topic is, and I think this applies to us, are levels of simplification. Characters come in different shades of visual complexity, from icon style all the way up to near realism. So we've got this great character. He's so cute. We also have this great character, which is definitely building into realism, and then realism. So all these are beautiful characters, and they're all just broken down into shapes, reiterated into either as we see them all the way down to suggested form. I love this guy. Okay, bits tips. I'm going to show you guys how I practice character shapes for my videos. So the tips are, this is not a tip. This is just, there are like 6 billion ways to draw a character. I don't have an asterisk. I made that up. It feels right to me. Like, you can just take that as it is. Do your research. Do your research. Do your research. I've definitely started using TikTok to tap into audiences for videos, because you can really get a lot of tone and even just clothes idea from like the TikTok videos they're targeted to. I haven't found a tech TikTok yet, but it's gonna happen. I know it. I know it's out there. Oh. And then my final and biggest tip is to cheat. And I'm going to show you what I do when I have no time. So play with your references. So I took this really amazing course, and I can't remember his name, but he's a storyboarder and concept artist for like Star Wars and just like heavy hitter. And his biggest thing is like, you don't have time. Like, of course, always practice drawing from real life, like do your body studies, do your everything. But when it pinch comes to shove, like you've got resources. We live in a digital world. Like when you don't have a lot of time and you want to do something quick, photo bash, like rip a picture up, just play with it until you're like, oh, that's the kind of a cool shape. I didn't plan on doing anything with these. I just ripped them up. And then they kind of just became funny. So it was fun. So I'll show you what I mean. So this I pulled off of Pinterest, and I wanted to do like a really quick practice in like human shape where I kind of like can carry it into videos. So the first thing I did was I established the lines that were drawing me to this image, and I kind of charted them out. The second thing I did was turned it off and redrew the image based on the lines that I liked. Again, fast, sloppy, don't think too much about it. And then I tore it up. I took the warp tool. You can see I just lassoed it and pulled it, starting to kind of break down the human realism to try and make it a little more abstracted. And then I cleaned it up and pulled it into Illustrator. So this is kind of what I do to practice, to start and see the body as shapes. Obviously, this would be a lot more easily animatable than this. I'm sure I could have gone more. Reiterations are your friend when you're trying to reduce and simplify a character. But yeah, this took 3 hours, like a 3-hour practice. And I probably, because I spent a lot of time on her face. As you can see, I left myself a present, as in figure it out later. So it's good practice. It's a lot of fun. And that's like kind of my base starting point when I'm trying to design a character.
This is so good, Bitsy.
Thank you.
It's so cool. Like I love like how structured like her sweater is, and I don't know, it's so freaking good.
It's so fun to do when you've got a couple hours and you just want to try a new style. Here's another one. I found this goofball on the internet, and I knew I wanted to kind of make a chunky character, so I went ahead and stretched him out. In this one, I wanted to do something even more kind of simplified and geometric. So I kind of broke it down. This one's a little more free-handed, but I wanted a line with the fist and the head. And I really liked kind of like the angles that were going on. So for this one, I really wanted to try and keep the angles kind of consistent, like really focusing on same lines. Here's my cleanup. I will say the legs, I redrew and I gave up, and I said, I'll figure it out in Illustrator, because this was just an exercise, and, like never dwell on something too long, unless this is like really important. But when you're practicing kind of a style, like just do it, just run with it. So as you can see, I've kind of like copied and pasted some lines to try and like keep it consistent. So I've kind of skipped some steps, but I've added my grid, where it's nothing fancy. I drew one line based on my favorite angle, and I just carried it through like to a bunch of different things. And yeah, and then I just cleaned it up. So again, fun exercise. Squinting is your friend when you're really trying to break down a shape, because you really start to see really cool and new shapes in the mess of it all. And I can kind of show you something after this, what I started, and then I didn't finish for this project, but again, it took me a little longer because I had to figure out the legs, but in the end, I copied and pasted his leg over and changed the foot. So, and you can see there's some mistakes, but overall, a pretty fun style from this little reference. Another tip is for exercises is play with brand logos. So I had a lot of fun with this one. This is actually something I just started doing, but again, I pulled this ad from Pinterest and I pulled this logo from Google and or Pinterest, and the whole exercise was draw the character to match the logo. So these two are the base, and this is the result. So just Photoshop sketches. I didn't actually clean any of these up, but it was a really fun study on really trying to get that character to match the branding. Here's another one. I don't know what these brands actually are. They might be fake, but yeah, big, bulky block letters, high contrast, kind of made this shape into what it is. I'm not great with kids design. This was a fun practice. Again, I tried to mess with proportions to kind of fit this really fun Roald Dahl logo. And then lastly, this kind of Bayport. Again, I don't know what it is, but visually you kind of get this like sleek, modern, elongated with some geometric patterns. I highly encourage you guys to try to do this. It's a super fun exercise. It'll really stretch your ability to kind of like see type into character. And then my last tip is always make it personal. When you make a character, put yourself in it. I mean, most of the time you can't help yourself, but I promise you that it'll always make for a better character. So Caseworthy, I really wanted to make these people relatable, likable, and I actually made these like half-baked turnaround sheets for them. So in a simple term, like I got to know them a little bit better in the sketches before I actually started drawing out assets. Just with height differences, here are the ladies from the project. I would wear all these outfits, honestly, like even this lady's. I tried to make them all some sort of personal choice. Again, looking at clothes that these age groups would wear, and I did a lot of references. Obviously, I am white, but diversity is so important. So again, lots of research into making sure everyone was represented fairly and well. I also gave them names, and this might be a little too far, but at the same time, even for your own sake, like it makes it more fun, and you tend to treat the character better in your animation, which overall makes for a much better video. Through drawing these out and naming them, when it came to building assets, it was a lot easier to go from, like, say, this to this. Like, I know them, I can kind of tell what maybe their backgrounds would be like, or to this, where all the faces are different angles, but I've explored them now. Even just front face, side face, I can start to really know these characters. It was a really positive experience. I highly recommend it. I did this once for a little robot for Tellit company. Chris knows what I'm talking about. And it really put so much personality, so much more personality into this little robot than if I had just been like, it's a robot, move it. And that's the end. Practice, practice, practice.
Well, there you have it. That's the presentation. I hope you found this enjoyable and valuable. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.